Hi, my name is Caragay, and this is assessment task 3. Whilst analyzing the digital environment of the university, it became quite evident that the digital environment of the university contains many different issues that affect students' experience online. Some examples can include the internet, MKM, process of getting into a subject, and much more. But one thing stood out the most, which was views because of how it was found to be a daily need for students attending the university. This site influences students' outcome to learning and how it has become an area for gathering information and knowledge. But navigating and using the site also has its limits. Examples can include the user interface being different in each subject, which makes it confusing to navigate around, the site timing out after a bit, which causes you to lose progress, and how some links take time to load. This was originally the assumed problem, but once analyzing it in a different perspective, it became evident that Blackboard reviews itself wasn't the issue itself, but rather how some teachers become lazy or cannot be bothered in organizing the UI in a similar format, and how the site doesn't have the capabilities of holding all the students attending the university all at one time, which is the actual problem. Problem statement. The assumed problem statement at the beginning was what type of impact can an LMS have on students, and how does an unorganized UI create frustration for students? The actual problem statement was, does having an unorganized user interface create confusion and frustration for students? If teachers aren't bothered in making sure the views is organized for students, what type of impact does that create? So I used, so after finding the actual problem, I carried out observations and interviews with like stakeholders, that being students, as it gave me different insights into how I could change the user experience using views, but it also helped me to create different maps ranging from journey maps, empathy maps, foresight, and affinity map. With all of those, it helped me to create two different solutions that could help improve a student's experience with views. The first was interviews. So I gathered this by like going around to 5 different students and how they experience views, and how I asked them different questions, which can be found in the image. So as a student said, views is a bit messy and unorganized, but over time I somewhat got the hang of it, which communicates to me that they struggled with views initially, but over time they somewhat got used to it. The journey map was constructed through the interviews. So I took in from their perspective and put it into different stages and how they felt. The map mapped out the different experiences of students and and from what they were saying to their thoughts, feelings, and much more. So like each area having its own like say and do, think and feel, hear and see, which communicates to the audience the type of experiences the student has. Foresight. Foresight covered the assumed problem and how it evolved over time. So the first white layer being the assumed, and then over time, like the actual problem. Then the affinity map talked about different levels of issues, that being like how it went from brainstorming to further analysis into the actual problem. With that, with all of those maps, it helped me create 2 different solutions that could help students views and their experience with it. So the first solution was changing like the UI. So the one on the left was the original one that I had created at first. So from that, I also asked for feedback from students and stakeholders on how I could make it better. And feedback that was mostly received was make it more visually appealing, making the layout a bit neater, changing the size of the font, which made me to make the improved version, which is on the right side, better color, but and also like different sizes of font. You can't tell because it's the same, like the same size, but it is different size. But I kept the font because I also asked other more students. They said it was fine. The second solution was creating like a tutorial video for students to follow and navigating around views for the first time. And the feedback that I got was that I should have a student make the tutorial because at least it's getting a student's perspective and experience rather than from a tutor to a than a professor and tutors, which was taken into insight. But more or less, this is just a thumbnail into how I could help. This solution is what type of solution this is. So the results and implications. So the first, by like gathering all the information gained, I created concept map that explored and expanded from the first one. So the one on the left is the original one from the beginning of the research, and then the one on the right is more updated one